Welcome students, let's continue. Chapter 2, ICSE 10th Standard History, Structured Question Answers. So, with respect to describe Rajaram Mohan Roy's approach towards religion. So, this is 1A. Rajaram Mohan Roy was a great humanist. He stressed the unity of all religion. Rajaram Mohan Roy was inspired by the monotheism of Islam, the ethical teaching of Christianity, and sublime doctrine of the Upanishads. He believed that every religion had set up a moral code necessary for social peace and happiness. So next 1B is his view on liberty and freedom of press. So he regarded liberty as a priceless possession of every individual. Liberty was also needed for the nation. He criticized all those measures which deprived Indians of their civil and democratic rights. Rajaram Mohan Roy had started a Bengal weekly magazine called Samvad Kaumudi. He started a Persian paper called Mirat-ul-Akbar. Both the publications had a distinct nationalist and progressive character. He argued that even civil liberties were enjoyed by the people of England should also be enjoyed by Indians, and he presented a petition to the Supreme Court for legal action to be taken against the press regulation. So 2A. So Jyotiba Phule's contribution for the upliftment of lower caste and women. The caste structure was to him slavery. His book Gulamgiri focused on the Brahmin domination and the poverty, hardship and the distress which the lower castes were then facing. Jyotiba Phule strongly felt that all the problem could be solved if the proper education was provided to them. Formation of Satyasojak Samaj and its aims and activities. Jyotiba Phule founded Satyasojak Samaj on 24 September 1873. The society endeavored to mitigate the distress and suffering of Dalits, women and common people. So Jyotiba Phule conceived of a society based on justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. Third question, the social and religious reforms of the 19th century became the early pioneers of Indian nationalism. Describe the 4 ways in which the reform movement of 19th century arose nationalist ideas. All these reforms denounced untouchability and rigidity of the caste system. The ideas of brotherhood and equality attracted the attention of the so-called lower classes or lower castes. Second point is, at a time when nation was seized with despair and idleness, Dayananda, Saraswati and Vivekananda boldly preached the gospel of strength and self-reliance. Third point is, all these reforms believe that the upliftment of women must come first and then only can any good come about for the country. Fourth point, all these reforms were inspired by the spirit of nationalism. They knew it fully well how Indian resources were being exploited by the British. The colonialists had drained the life and blood from out of the people on whose laborers depended the luxury of the white ones. So 4A, English language and Western education. With respect to this, the advantage of the knowledge of English were many. Western education instilled in the minds of the educated classes and Western ideas of liberty and equality. It also gave them a common language which made it possible for them to understand each other and plan a common program of action. The battle cry of the present French Revolution, liberty, equality and fraternity, certainly Indian activities who quickly became nationalists, democratic and socialists. Many young men stay in England gave them intimate institutions. When they returned of India, they felt disgusted with the conditions prevailing in the country. Naturally, they thought in terms of freedom and independence of Indians. 4B, growth of press and literature in the 19th century. The printing press played a big role in carrying ideas of the people. Rajaram Mohan Roy was the founder of the Nationalist Journal in India. His Bengal, published in 1821, had a distinct nationalist character. These had been a strict censorship of the publication of papers and journals. Rajaram Mohan Roy waged legal battle against the press regulation and Press regulation. Dadabhai Nauroji started Stockholm Prakash in Bengal in 1858. Some of their to be popular newspapers even today, such as the Times of India, founded in 1861. Their paper supported the policy of the government in India and informed a rapid political development in the country. Bankim Chandra's novel Anand Mat, which was rightly being called the Bible of the modern Bengali patriotism. Our national song Vande Mataram was taken from his book. Nationalists drew great inspiration from this song. 4C, rediscovery of India's past. The British had projected Indians as rough barbarians, having no respect for literature or education. Our countrymen began to lose their self-confidence. European scholars rendered valuable help in restoring the rich heritage of Sanskrit literature. The works of these scholars aroused nationalist passion against the foreign rulers. A feeling grew among Indians that they must build an India yet greater than what she was. 5A, Indian economic exploitation by the British. So the peasant suffering, the first point. Under the zamindari system, the peasants were left absolute at the mercy of the landlord, who could give them or drive them off their land at any time. The Roytwari system also was on harsh that zamindar system. The Indian peasants had to sell their produce at cheap prices in order to satisfy the greed of the moneylenders, the zamindars and the government officials. These were a continuous increase in the indebtedness of the Indian peasants under the British rule. Big British agencies geared production in India to the needs of the world market. Second one, handicrafts stagnated. British rule had a very damaging effect on Indian handicrafts. Heavy duties were imposed on goods imported into England from India. Further, British goods were forced upon India since she was at the mercy of their foreign masters. Dissatisfied educated youths. The educated young men in India were becoming increasingly dissatisfied with the government because the better paid jobs were kept only for out of their reach. Government ignored people's welfare. Burden of taxes was constantly on the increase, but the government did very little to promote the welfare of the people. Huge expenditure was incurred on army and the police forces to sustain Britain's imperial interest. B. Modern means of communication and transport. Means of communication knit up the vast country and gave to our people a sense of oneness. Modern means of transport narrowed our differences. The provincial or regional loyalties became to disappear and patriotism gained. Railway enabled people belonging to different caste and religion to move and mix with each other. This became an effective means of orthodox in matter relating to food, drink and water untouchability. Without transport facilities, books, journals and newspapers could not have been carried from one place to another. Some of the educated Indians went and could see the functioning of the democratic institutions. That inspired them to raise their voice against the oppressive measure of the British regime. 6A, that is the Vernacular Press Act. The Vernacular Press Act crushed the freedom of the vernacular papers. The act required the editors to publish nothing that could excite disaffection against the government. Many editors who opposed the act were sentenced to jail. The Arms Act, the Indian Arms Act, made it a criminal offence for Indians to keep or bear arms without license. Surendranath Banerjee reaction was that act imposed on us a badge of racial inferiority. Ilbert Bill, Lord Ripon, who succeeded Lincoln, tried to reduce some of the grievances of the Indians, but his attempts were mad by the controversy over the Ilbert Bill. According to a bill was introduced by Ilbert, the law member of the Governor General Executive Council. The Anglo-Indian community carried on a wild agitation against this measure. The government ultimately withdrew the bill and negotiated a compromise. 7A. What were the objectives and activities of the East India Associated found in 1866? Dadabhai Nauroji, founded in London on 1st October 1866. It aimed at providing members It aimed at providing members of the British Parliament information regarding India's genuine grievances. The association attached a large number of Englishmen who sympathetically with Indian distress. It recommended the obligation of cotton duties and petitioned the government to withdraw the Vernacular Press Act. The association became popular and also as soon as at branches in Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai. 7b. What were the objectives of the Indian Association? The objectives were to unite the Indians upon the basis of common political interest and beliefs, to promote brotherly feeling between Hindus and Muslims, to agitate for constitutional government. Surendranath Banerjee led an all-Indian campaign for better representation of Indians in India. Civil services. The Bengali, a daily newspaper edited by Surendranath Banerjee, became the chief organ of the association. 8a. Named the founder of Indian National Congress. A.O. Hume had played a major role in the information of the Congress. He is considered as the father or founder of the Indian National Congress. Mention the immediate objectives. So, to enable national workers from all parts of the India to become personally known to each other, to end all racism, religion and provincial prejudice, and to promote a feeling of national unity among the lovers of the country. The formation of popular demand on vital Indian problems and their representation before the government. To train and organize public opinion in the country, to decide upon the political tasks or jobs to be undertaken during the ensuing year. Mention its demands. The most important demands were expansion of legislative council, reduction of military expenditure, holdings of Indian civil service examination both in England and India, spread of both general and technical education, wider employment of Indians in the higher service, people's right to carry arms, appointment of a royal commission to ensure into the working of Indian administration. Thank you guys. So this is a quick revision. If you have not subscribed for the channel, please subscribe. If you have liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If any discrepancies are there in the video or if any mistakes are there in the video, let me know. Everything is with respect to your textbook and with respect to your syllabus. And if the dates are not correct, let me know so that I can correct. Thank you guys.